Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. I can see that we have a number of people here today. That's really exciting. Um, okay, I don't use Zoom webinar features a whole lot. So if you were in my last one, you'll hear me say again, just be patient with me with technology. Can someone do me a favor and just like type in the chat that they can see and hear me? And also, can you let me know if you can see my screen? Amazing. Okay, you can see and hear me, and you can see the screen, the Mastering the Smart Leads ecosystem. Amazing. Okay, you guys are great. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Um, wow, cool. So many people here today. I love that so many people are interested in the leads topic. Um, and people are saying hi. So thank you for joining me. For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Stephanie Gellman, and I am the product manager of online leads with Royal LePage Canada. Okay. So today's session, what we're here to talk about, what I'm going to be presenting and explaining is the different leads that are available in our national leads program called Smart Leads, just so you understand exactly what is out there, because there are actually a whole lot of different kinds of leads in the Smart Leads program. Then what we'll do is I'm going to talk about activating smart campaigns and using smart campaigns. And, these things, they're not just generic emails. They're professionally designed sequences that deliver actual value. Okay. Um, but we'll get into the details of that, and then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A. So I can see people are writing in the chat. That's great. Keep chat to chat. If you have a question, can you please throw it in the Q&A? I can see someone raise their hand. Marta, you could just type your question either in the chat or the Q&A. I think I've enabled a Q&A. This is being recorded, okay? And I will be emailing out the recording to everybody. So if you leave or if you have to leave soon or whatever, don't worry. You'll get the recording. And then along with the recording, I'm also going to send you some resources, just some cool tip sheets that I think you will enjoy very much. Okay? Okay, perfect. All right. So here's kind of an overview of the different leads that we can have in the smart lead system. And we'll go into details, and I'm going to show you some examples of each one. So there's agent search leads, and there's actually a few different kinds of agent search leads that we call designated contact me leads that people can get. And these ones are some of the best leads that you can get because they're coming from people looking for you. Okay. Then there are listing leads. So you can get leads from your own listings. And on your listings, you have like a little ribbon that has your name and a designated contact me. So another place where you can get leads from your profile. Okay. Then you can get ones that are requesting general information, showing requests, as well as ones that we call value consult. And if you don't know what that is, that's fine. I'm going to show you what that means. We also have seller leads, commercial leads for commercial properties, as well as investment leads. And I see a question in the Q&A about, is this an RLP sphere? So the way this connects with Sphere and where we're going to have Sphere connect with what we're talking about today is Sphere is the nurturing mechanism that you will use from the leads. And these leads specifically are from royallepage.ca. Okay. So essentially from royallepage.ca, there's a whole lot of possibilities. Okay. So let's talk about the designated contact me. Now, this is a lead that every single one of you can get as long as you're an agent, because all of you have a profile on Royal LePage. Okay, so every single agent has a profile on Royal LePage. And, consumers can come to the website and they can select find an agent. Okay, that's what we see up here. And, as this example, I came here and I looked for somebody who works in Quispamsis, New Brunswick. Okay, if you've never been there, you should check it out. It's a beautiful, beautiful little place. So I said, you know what? It's such a lovely place. I want to see if I can find someone who specializes in hobby farms out there. I found one result, one person. Okay. And this is Dwayne Snell. He is with Royal LePage Select. And, Dwayne has a really good example of a wonderfully completed profile. So it has an up-to-date professional photo, a short professional experience statement, his spoken languages, as well as areas, services, and areas of expertise, and completed social media links. Now, having all these are crucial because if we go back to the previous page, okay, and we look at the things that people can come to the site and look for, they can search for language, areas of expertise, location, specialty. And when you have a complete profile, people will be able to find you. Unfortunately, too many people have incomplete profiles. And when somebody has an incomplete profile, like this one here, it results in this. And, first off, it doesn't look great, right? But secondly, it will not rank in the search results when someone searches for an agent on Royal LePage, right? So it's absolutely vital that you have a complete profile to enable you to be able to get these leads that we are called designated contact me leads. Okay, so if you are wondering now how to complete your profile or update it, we log in through the RLP network, okay, and click where it says welcome your name, right? And then all kinds of fields are going to open up. You can update your photo, you add in your specialties, et cetera, et cetera. And customer care will help you if you encounter any barriers doing that. So I strongly recommend that people ensure that their profiles are updated to reflect all your specialties, your languages, your different skills, and your area's service. Okay. The other kind of leads that people can receive off of listings are numerous. There's all kinds of things that can come from a listing, okay? And these kinds of leads can come from your listings, or they could come from competitor listings. And there's kind of two important terms to remember. Ones that are coming from your listing, you as a Royal LePage agent, we call designated leads. And then ones from the DDF feed, from someone else's listing, non-Royal LePage, is called a distributed lead. Okay. And not all areas of Canada have distributed leads. Not all areas participate in DDF. It varies by province and board. So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head if the opportunity exists where you are, because I have a feeling that some people may have that as the question right now. My advice is always ask your manager what the distributed opportunity is where you live. But regardless of if it's from your listing or someone else's, we have a few key buttons and leads that can come from these. Okay, so one, I know it's small, forgive me, but there's a book a showing. Now, here people can click that button and they can ask to view the property, and throw in a date and time that they would like to view the property. There's a request information, okay? So a general information type lead, okay? There is below the fold, right? So we have the property and then details, and kind of mid-page, there's a section where it has the quick quote. And basically it says like the average price of a home in that area and that kind of home sells for this range. And then it'll place the house on the spot. We can see that this place is listed a little bit higher than average. And that would be a value consult lead. Okay, because remember at the start when I listed all the different kinds of leads possible, I said one was called a value consult. Okay, so that's where that would come from. All different ones possible from a property. Value consult, book a showing, general inquiry. And then if it happens to be your listing, you could also get an agent contact me designated lead. Okay, all kinds of things. Okay, we also have seller leads, and these ones are pretty cool. They come as a result of our What's My Home Worth tool. I guess you could say it that way. So one thing that I love about our quick quote, What's My Home Worth tool, is it doesn't force people to register. A person, a consumer can come to the site, type in their address, receive a estimated property value for it. No obligation. We don't ask them for their, to be a lead. But then the form pops up below it saying, talk to an agent, ask an agent about the value of your property in today's market. Ask a Royal LePage realtor for a customized property profile of your home or a comparative market analysis to show you how much other houses in your area have sold for recently. Okay, so this is a potential seller lead, and we get those from the site. Then we also have our commercial microsite, right? So we have normal Royal LePage that kind of features everything, all the properties, but then we have our specialty microsite that specializes in commercial listings and commercial agents, okay? And only agents who are Royal LePage commercial member agents may be the recipients of the distributed commercial leads. So remember, distributed, these are the ones that are coming from the DDF listings. Okay. Um, Only agents who are RLP commercial members are eligible to that pool of leads. Okay. Also, one of the other perks and other pool of leads that commercial member agents have, they could receive general find an agent inquiries from the site, as well as seller leads from the commercial site, as well as being featured on the site in the find an agent section. Okay, so like how I showed you on regular Royal LePage, people can search for an agent. On commercial Royal LePage, people can also search for an agent. And the other day, I decided to go and look for an agent, a commercial agent in Prince George, and I found two lovely people, two lovely Royal LePage agents. Okay, so this is another perk of being part of RLP Commercial to open you up to more leads. So this would be a designated contact me, similar to the one from regular Royal LePage, but commercial Royal LePage. Okay, and then our newest micro site that we opened a year and a half ago is our Investor's Edge. And this is where investor focused leads are generated. Now, what sets this site apart from the other ones is that in addition to typical listing information, the site also provides all kinds of amazing info to prospective investors. So like insights and tools to determine a property's investment performance potential. This includes things like cumulative ROI, market appreciation, net operating income, cash on cash return. And the user can actually like adjust the slider to look at 1 year's through to 10 years performance, as well as cap rate. Okay, now if this is something that piques your interest, I suggest that you check out the RLP Investors Edge Masterclass, because when taking that class, you will learn what all those terms are that I just said. Um, but also the really nice thing about taking that class is people who have done that course are eligible to receive leads from the site. Okay. Now you can find out about the masterclass on the RLP network. Okay, look under training, and there's a whole tab invested to this. But like, look at these people. These are some lovely folks in the Toronto area who completed the Investor's Edge Masterclass. And because of that, now they can be featured on the site where they can receive more designated contact me leads. So more people come into their profiles, but this time searching for them as an investment specialist. Okay. How cool is that? So, I know like that was a lot of different lead types, right? That's a lot of info to digest, but that's it. That's the maximum lead types. Okay. So really it's important to remember there's all kinds of different leads that can come from listings, and then there's all kinds of leads that can come from your profile. There's some that are sellers, most of them are buyers. Okay. That's a good quick overview of lead types. Now let's talk about maximizing our closes. And this is where the RLP sphere and specifically the CRM aspect of the sphere is going to play in a huge place because every smart lead that you get automatically integrates into your RLP sphere. Okay. So let's talk about results. We launched Smart Leads in 2018. Now, since that time, our average brokerage close rate is 3.6%. And that's pretty darn good when you look at the industry average close rate of 1% or less for online real estate leads. What's even more exciting is our top offices, they're closing at 6%. There's some that are as high as 9%. Okay. And there's so much potential in there. Okay. And the reason that people do well is they are using the system. You too can do this well. You just really need to leverage the system that's been created for you. And that's why I'm here to show you what I mean by that. So we did a lot of research on how to close online leads. And really, it just boils down to two things. Two things. That's all you need to do. You need to be fast and you need to have perseverance. Okay. And we've used smart leads and the technology at hand to combine those best practices with automation as much as possible. And this is how you can increase your close rates. Okay. Um, so let's talk about how. Oh, and then lastly, okay, you need to be fast, you need to be persistent, but you also need to provide value. And this is where some people forget. Okay. So when you use the smart campaigns that we made for you, okay, it automates your workflow. It helps you align all your marketing efforts and your messages, and it makes sure that every single lead is properly nurtured. And here's the other big key that is so important. It helps you filter out unserious from the serious leads because the serious people will reply and the rest of them, and that's going to be most of them, will ignore you or they will unsubscribe, right? Like when I said before, some of the best offices are closing at a 6% close rate, and that's six times the industry average of 1% or less. That's really impressive. But 6% is still only six out of 100. That means that 94 did not turn into anything. And that's okay because it's an online lead. But that's also part of why we want to use a system, right? We want to use a system to, one, filter out the unserious people, but two, to maximize the potential successes with the serious people. Being fast to reply to a lead is very hard. Okay. You have a life, you have things to do. Nevertheless, we know that a quick response is crucial to closing more leads. And that's why the smart campaigns that we made include an immediate reply to your leads, satisfying their desire to be responded to quickly. I could be saying yes to leads right now and having the system automatically send them a nice little response, and I'm in the middle of a presentation. Okay. That's why we want to use a system. Now, we know that most of the leads, they're not going to reply to the first few messages. They can sometimes take weeks or even months to answer. Okay. And staying persistent with an unresponsive lead is extremely difficult when you are doing it manually. When you are reaching out and you're calling and you're not getting an answer, when you are sending an email or a text and you're not getting an answer, it's so easy to stop. You feel like you're being a pest, right? And you don't want to keep going, or you've just run out of things to say, so you don't say anything anymore. Okay. But when you use what we've created, it does the work for you. It saves the time and effort and allows you to spend your time doing other very important tasks. Okay, so the campaigns that we made, they include long-term nurturing messages. And then finally, the best ones, like I said, they provide value. So it's not just about reaching out to your leads going, hey, answer me. Hey, let's talk. Let's do business. Come on, come on. No, we also want to inform and hopefully even entertain the recipients. So people look forward to our emails. So in our smart campaigns, we've included some pieces that are educational. So either about the buying or the selling process, depending on if they are a buyer lead or a seller lead. And by incorporating these pieces, you're providing valuable information to your leads. You're showing them that you are the expert, and you're also giving them something without necessarily asking anything in return. And that builds your credential. Okay. So remember, all your smart leads, all those different kinds of leads that I talked about, they automatically enter the RLP Sphere CRM. And when you make use of the automation, uh, you can siphon the funnel. Okay, filter out the bad from the good, enable you to focus your attention on the people who actually do want to transact and interact with you. So, regardless of whatever kind of lead it is, they all basically look like this when they come to you. Okay. Um, yeah. So you will receive a text and or an email. Okay. And you will click the button to accept the lead. Okay. It says new lead opportunity. Click here to accept or decline. You click, then you are brought to a page that looks like this. And this shows you the lead countdown clock. So the countdown clock is one of the things that enables you to be a fast responder. The countdown clock shows you how much time you have to accept that before it is sent to someone else. And it might, depending on the lead type and how your brokerage does things, it might be sent to a leads manager or it might be sent to another agent. Okay. Regardless, you click the button, it brings you to your clock. And for me, I see that this one shows me I have 10 minutes remaining to accept the lead. Okay. And this one specifically, this is great. So if I know it's really small, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see it when you get it a real one. You'll see things that are called tags, and they kind of give you a clue on what kind of lead it is. And this one that I have as a tag, it is tagged with M5V. So that is the first three digits of the postal code. So I know the general area. It's also tagged with Toronto, and it's telling me it's a commercial property. And it's from royallepage.ca. So as I was saying before, these are on any of these inquiries are they're either coming from one of your listings or one of the agent find a page or someone else's listing, and they're being sent to you via our Smart Leads platform. Okay. Now, once you accept the lead is when the magic starts, okay? Because that's when it integrates into your RLP Sphere CRM. You don't have to do anything. We've done all the technology for you. We integrate it for you because you're part of the Smart Leads system and you're part of Royal LePage. So as soon as you accept it, you get this email and it shows you who your lead is. Now, if you have planned ahead of time, okay, and you've activated a smart campaign for new online leads, the moment your lead enters your CRM, that campaign starts working. It automatically applies. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to turn things on, and I'll show you what campaigns I recommend you use. But they'll automatically apply. And it knows, well, this is a showing request lead, so I'm going to apply the showing request campaign. Or this is a seller lead, so I'll apply the seller campaign. Now, all the campaigns include the immediate message. So that's why I was saying before, I could be saying yes to leads right now. And I know that they are getting auto messaged. I know that they're okay, that they're not going to run away because we know that people are so darn impatient. If we don't give them an immediate response, they're going to run off. They're going to go on some other website because their attention spans are that short. So the magic of the RLP Sphere integration also means that when you're getting the email from the system that says, okay, you have a lead now. Okay. So when you confirm, yes, I want that, then you receive an email. Here it is. Here's all their info. It has a link, okay, like a big banner at the bottom. And you just click on that, and then you can jump right into your RLP Sphere. You can also access the Sphere from the RLP network. You can also access the Sphere from the app, okay? There's a lot of different ways that you can get in there. Now, I'm not going to go into the deep, deep details of what is in the campaigns. One of the things that I will recommend to you after this session is that you go in the system and preview content. Okay, and I'll show you how. I'll also recommend you don't look at every single piece of everything because a lot of them are duplicated and they're just similar content but applied to different lead types. And it'll make sense as I carry on a bit more. But this is an overview of what is in the typical campaign for buyers. Okay. Now, here's some of the most important parts to note. The highlighted pieces are actions. These are tasks to be done by you, the agent. Okay. And in this particular campaign, there are 5. Everything else is done by the system. Okay. Um, the system sends them messages. Some are short text messages, some are emails, some are longer emails that are pieces of value. And this continues until your new lead replies. And then when they reply through the magic of RLP Sphere, they are updated from a new lead status to an active lead status. And that will then in turn make a cascading effect that removes the campaign for new online lead buyers because they're no longer a new lead, they are an active lead. Okay. Now, if they never reply, and most of them won't, right? When we saw the statistics of, if you do really well, you'll probably get 6%. Um, if they never reply, the system will automatically archive them at the 6-month mark. Okay, because according to Canada anti-spam legislation, you have up to 6 months to market to an unresponsive online lead. So might as well maximize it, right? Perfect. Okay. Here's some examples, right, of some of the other messages that are in Smart Campaigns for buyers. So some of them are a bit longer, some of them are a bit shorter. For example, hi there, any updates on your search for a new home? I've got a few in the area that might work well for you. If you're still interested, may I give you a call in the next day or two? And then it has your name. And what's cool is everything's integrated, right? So you can see there in this one, it says, hello, Stephanie, I've been trying to reach you. Is this the right number? So Stephanie is the name of my lead. If it was Bob, it would say, hello, Bob. It integrates it for me. I didn't have to do that, right? Here's an example of one of our professionally designed and templated informational pieces that goes with our buyer campaign. Okay, and this piece helps clients navigate showings. So each of our smart campaigns for new online leads includes 6 of these. There's specific one for buyers, and then there's another one for sellers. Now, what's really cool about these is that you can see this lovely lady down here. That's me. But I didn't do anything. I didn't have to create that. The system, because Royal LePage marketing made these pieces, all I had to do was ensure that I had a profile, an updated profile, and then it pulls all my info in there and it just looks great. It looks like I had this amazing thing created because I did. Now, I said before, assuming that the lead has not replied to any texts and emails, okay, throughout the campaign, on day 179, they will be sent a final message, right? Now, should they not reply to that message, the following day, the system will automatically update their status to archive and castle consent is removed. Oh, there's a great question in the Q&A, and it's, does Sphere recognize the lead's language? I have 50% English, 50% French clients in Montreal. So I don't know if Sphere necessarily recognizes languages, but when your leads come in from Royal LePage, we do know if it's from French Royal LePage or English Royal LePage, and we have created smart campaigns specifically en français and specifically en anglais. And they will, the French ones, if you turn them on, will know that, yeah, they'll know that they're in English, which is really, really cool. Um, Okay. I just looked at the chat for the first time and I see that there's all kinds of chat in there, but I'm not going to get distracted by that. I see that Leslie's dealing with stuff, which is great. Leslie, do me a favor. If you see anything that I should answer live, will you throw it in the Q&A? Um, okay, so then I hear Frederic saying, no, the smart campaigns don't recognize the lead language. Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, it would be nice if the system knew that much. But like I said, and I'll show you where you can find the French campaigns as well as the English ones because they can be used and they will automatically apply to people if they come from French Royal LePage. Okay. And oh, look at that. I was just saying I was going to show you where to find them, and here I am. I'm going to show you where to find them. So we want to go in RLP sphere and then we look under marketing and then there's an area called smart campaigns. Or if you don't want to go the long way, there's that Omni search thing. You could just type in the word smart campaigns, right? And that'll get you to where you need to go. Now, this is only a handful, okay, of the ones that I recommend. Okay, you'll see there, there's a breadcrumb trail. And actually, after this session, along with the recording, I'm going to send you the document RLP Sphere Smart Campaigns for online leads because that document contains the complete list of campaigns that I recommend you use to ensure that any potential lead that you might get will have a campaign applied to it. Okay. We created, I don't know, 30 or so because there's a lot of different kinds of leads that can come from the system. Okay. So I recommend that you check that doc out. It'll tell you what campaigns I recommend you use. Okay. Now, when you go into the sphere, I want you to understand a few things about campaigns. And you don't need to be a big pro in the system to use these. I will tell you that's not one of the important things to do is just trust. Trust that we've made something really good because they work well. Okay. So, for example, um, I wanted to find the one for seller leads. So, I type the name of it in here. I'm looking under my campaigns and then I type the name in and then I do the little search. Now, there's some important things to know, like just looking at a campaign, right, that I want to explain. So, obviously, we have the name first. That's easy enough. A description, so what it's all about. Starts when is really important. You don't really need to think too much about it because we did that logic for you, right? But really, this is where it tells the system to what kind of contact it ought to automatically apply. Okay, so this is some of the coding logic that we built into these so that the right campaign goes on the right kind of new lead. Then, who's it designed for? Sellers or buyers? The channels are all the different things that happen in it. So this one has a status change, it has emails, and it has tasks, and it has 24 touches. So how many actions? And then always run. So basically, it means that this will not um, override other campaigns. So generally, we want campaigns to be set to no for always run because when we have them on yes, then potentially one contact could be receiving multiple auto messages. And sometimes that is a little problematic. So generally speaking, we have them to no. And lastly, status. Red is on, okay? And one of the things that I want to recommend that you do after the session, when I send you the list of campaigns that I recommend you use, you go in there and you look them up and you turn those guys on, right? Turn them on. Okay. Now, there's a good question. I see your question, Matt. I'm going to get to that in a sec. I just want you to know that I see that. Okay. Now, most of you, I'm sure, will want to look at the content, right, before you activate thing. And I recommend that you do, especially to familiarize yourself with the tasks, because each campaign does have a handful of tasks of things for you, the human, to do. Okay, so that's important for you to familiarize yourself with. But Don't lose sleep over previewing the content of each and every single message. It's not worth the effort. Okay. Check out a few and you will find that I'm sure you'll be happy with it. But regardless, here's how we look at messages. Okay. So I clicked on that seller email only one. I want to view the content. Okay. The first message. So I clicked on view and now I can see this is what it's all about. So it says, hi, lead first name. So it incorporates their name in automatically. I see that you received a property value estimate from the Royal LePage website. I will work on a more accurate estimate than the automated one you just received. I just need to confirm some details. Quick question. Do you think the home value was high, low, or about what you were expecting? Sincerely, and then the system inserts my name, the agent name and brokerage. Okay, so that's the first message that they get in a seller lead. And we can see here, it goes out 5 minutes, okay, after the lead comes in, and it's from the agent to the contact. Okay, cool. And here, it tells me right here, me as an agent, I cannot edit that because I am not the owner. Okay. So um, you may preview, okay, but you are not able to edit it, and nor should you. You know, it's not necessary to edit. It's funny, I was talking to an admin actually just yesterday about smart campaigns. We were having kind of a one-on-one session, and she said to me, she goes, Stephanie, I wanted to make a custom campaign, but then when I read what you guys wrote, it's too good. It's good. There's nothing to change. I wanted to want to change it, but I didn't see anything that needed to be done. Um, okay, perfect. So, I mentioned this before, but I'll mention this again that, one of the cool things about RLP Sphere is that it will update based on the person's responsiveness, right? So if they reply to any of the messages in the campaign, it will automatically update their status from new to active lead. Yay. If they never ever respond, okay, then at the end, they are automatically changed to archived. Now, we also have a lot of campaigns for you to use to stay in touch with people that you have transacted with. Okay. And I also recommend that you send some of these to people who are in your sphere of influence, your family, just your friends. Remind them that you are a real estate expert with whom they would like to transact when the day comes. Okay. So some of those include the homeowner, client for life, and the consumer market trends. And really, you can just think of these as like frequency, right? So the homeowner is quarterly, the client for life is once per month, and the consumer trends is twice a month. So, you send those to different people, you set different people up on different campaigns based on what you think they would want, how frequently they would want information. Okay. So we saw, right, that when we've systematized optimal lead conversion and increased close rates through the use of technology. Okay. And how have we done that? Well, we send you leads via text and email. As soon as you accept a lead, it's automatically entered into your smart campaign CRM, no manual entry needed on your part. When activated ahead of time, the smart campaigns are going to automatically apply to your listing leads. Okay. And then when you use them, it helps you nurture your leads on a structured schedule. And that really helps you turn more people into customers. And it helps you automate your workflow, aligning all your marketing messages in one place. And it also helps you siphon out the good from the bad, right? Okay. So campaigns, they consist of things like settings and actions. Some of them include some tasks. Okay. So if you're going to go in and use these, I do recommend you preview, even if it's just to check out the tasks. Like I said, the most tasks is 5 in 6 months. Familiarize yourself with those things. Okay. The ones that we made, they're beautiful, they're castle compliant, and they have those beautiful templated pieces, okay, like the one that I showed you before. Now, if you do nothing, okay, like if you somehow forget your tasks, then I'm not recommending that happens. But if you do, The system has your back, okay? Because over like 90, 95% of the outreach is automated. I have had people tell me that they forgot about leads because, the person was unresponsive. And then all of a sudden at like the 4 month mark, the 5 month mark, they respond to one of these messages. Okay, so that's one of the huge advantages. Um, Okay, cool. So next steps. This is where I'm going to show you some stuff. Okay, and I'm going to address some of the questions that I see in the sphere. So I see a great question from Anne Marie. Are there any smart campaigns for renters with the aim to convert them to buyers? You know, there are not, but I think you've given me something that I want to work on because it's a great idea, and yeah, unfortunately, we have not created those, but I will show you where you can view the ones that we created. And Matt has a question about updating your profile. Okay, and so Matt, I'm going to show you. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm signed in here. No, all right. So I'm going to bring up the RLP network in a second because I want to show you guys just a couple of things. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the RLP. Oh my goodness, I have so many tabs. One moment here. Okay. Um, okay, can everyone confirm that you see my RLP network page, right? You see the sphere there. See it? Yes. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay. Um, so two places. I want to show you two things. Okay. Your profile on RLP, right? So I talked before about your designated contact me leads that you can have. Log into the RLP, you just click where it says welcome your name, right? And this is where you can update stuff. So skills and competencies, right? You want to put your designations, your languages, your specialties. Awards happen automatically, so that's not something you would do, but make sure that you do these things. That's crucial, okay? And also make sure your photo's updated. And if you need a hand with any of those things, you reach out to customer care. Okay. Let's look at a couple things in Sphere quickly while we still have some time. So anywhere, there's a lot of places on the RLP you can get to Sphere. I'm going to go from the dashboard page and it just says log into RLP Sphere. All right. Oh, and then now it wants to time out on me. Hang on. See, I have a demo account, so sometimes it acts funny. Let me go in this way because I'm not a real agent. Let's try this way. There we go. Okay. Oh, okay. 1 second. Okay, here we are. Yay. So I showed you the profile on Roy LePage. Okay. You also have a profile here in the sphere. Okay. So you see here, mine's different, right? I have a different photo in here. And this is something that is so important to update. Okay, so have a click on your face up here, and then you'll see a thing that says My Profile. Okay, so this is where if you want to have a different photo on your sphere things than you do in your profiles on RLP, because maybe I think this looks better for marketing pieces, right? You can just hit edit, add a new photo. Now, part down here, the signature. This is one thing that I've noticed a handful of folks have forgotten to do. So this is very important that you put in signature. And then lastly, you want to click the slider, include signature on all outgoing email. Because I don't know if that is clicked by default, but I know for certain you do not have a signature made by default. So that is something that you want to do if you haven't done that yet in the RLP sphere. Once again, that's up here under my profile, and then you say edit, and then you just kind of go down. Okay. Very important to do. Let's look at the smart campaigns just for a quick sec while we have a few more minutes. Okay, so we access them from marketing and smart campaigns. And like I said before, you can do the Omni search if you want. Now don't be surprised if mine looks a little different. Like I said, I have a bit of a different account, but you have something quite similar. I'm going to jump back into the RLP network. I'm going to look at this document that Stephanie recommended. Okay, smart leads. So under marketing and under smart leads, there's a few really good resources. And let's look at now. After the session, you can look at the ROI calculator and a lead sample if you want. But this is what we're going to look at right now. Okay, RLP Sphere Smart Campaigns for online leads. I will also send it to you. Okay, so if you can't get to it right now and you can't follow along like right the second, but don't worry, I'm going to send it to you with a recording of today's session. But this is the gold. This is your cheat sheet gold doc that you want to have handy. Okay, because it is going to tell you the campaigns that I recommend you. I love it. There's already somebody in here. We have a keener. Okay, so gives a little summary of what happens in the campaigns. Okay, and like I said, they're all pretty much the same. Now, here is the gold. These are the names of the ones that I recommend you turn on. Okay, now if you don't know what all these different lead types are, don't stress, right? Um, they're really, well, let's look at new disc lead. Okay, that was a distributed lead, so that's from a competitor listing, right? And he's a buyer, we know that. And he has email and text, so he included a phone number and an email. That's all. It's not complicated. And when you look at them in the system, it explains it a bit more, I guess. Let me show you what I mean. All right. So I'm lazy, so I just typed in part of the name disc lead, right? And here it is right here, new disc lead buyer email and text. Let me just zoom in a bit because that's probably really small. There you go. That's probably easier to see. Okay, so right here, this is the one that we're looking at. And it says the lead email is not empty. The lead phone is not empty. The source is distributed listing and the status is new lead. Okay, cool. So because I like to plan ahead and, just kind of get everything ready ahead of time, I'm going to turn this guy on. I'm not really going to because I have a super account and, I can have cascading effects on the world, but you will in your account, you will turn yours on. Now, I explained before, we've made leads, we've made campaigns for all kinds, right? So you can see here, there's commercial ones for commercial inquiries. If you are in Ontario, okay, you get to take part in Move Me To. That's a website that we have exclusive partnership with. Okay, so this document explains a bunch of different names. Let's look at one, a designated, right? Because that's another. Okay. So we can see there's a bunch of designated ones. I have this one turned on. I'm going to turn that off. I'm not sure why I have that turned on. I think it's from my demo that I was doing earlier today. Now you want yours on, okay? And we can see here the different kinds. So the value consults, okay? Remember that? That's the one where somebody's asking about the price of a property, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, cool. So I see a couple questions that have come in, so I'm going to answer them. So Mathieu asks, is there a cost to accept a lead from rlp.ca? And the answer is, Mathieu, it really depends on the type of lead and what's going on at your brokerage. So that is a question that you will want to ask your manager. All right. Another question, for any that don't use RLP Sphere, but their own CRM follow-up boss, could the lead somehow get routed there instead? It's possible. John, shoot me an email after this session, okay, and we can look at how that is possible. Okay, and I think my email, let me get back to my presentation because, we're getting close to the end and I want to wrap up with this, okay, but my point, folks, was that we want to go into the RLP sphere. Okay, you want to check out the campaigns. Oh, we want to understand the tasks. Okay, right. So the tasks in the campaign. Let me just jump back in the sphere for 1 second. Okay, so here we go. We have the designated showing request. The person has their email and phone number. So the campaign has texts as well. Okay, but we see here we have a task. It's an introductory phone call. A task, a custom email. A task. Set the lead up on auto listings. Okay, and this is the one, I'm going to warn you, this is the one that some people, they don't do. And then here's the thing. This text that goes out 2 days after you're supposed to set them up on properties asks them, hey, what are your thoughts about the listings I've been sending you? Okay. Now, if you have not set them up on listings, it's a little bit embarrassing, right? 'Cause sometimes they'll reply and they'll say, you haven't sent me anything. What are you talking about? Blame it on technology. Just go, oops, I'm sorry. I thought I was sending you stuff, but now that we're chatting, let's continue. Let's talk. But do set the people up, okay? Because that's one of the tasks and some of the messages afterwards kind of follow up on that, okay? So you're going to go in there, you're going to check out the tasks. And then lastly, like I said, like trust the system, right? Um, Absolutely trust the system to do the right thing. And Marie asks, do all brokerage offer the online lead generator? Well, so a lot of it depends on where you are, right? So not all provinces have DDF. Not even all boards participate in DDF. And by DDF, I mean like the competitor listings and stuff, right? So some parts of Canada you might have access only to designated leads or you might be in an area where there is DDF but there's just not a lot to go around. So my point is everyone, all RLP brokerages and all RLP agents can get designated leads, and as a reminder, those are the ones from your listings, okay, and your agent contact me pages. And every agent has one on normal Royal LePage. Every commercial agent has one on normal Royal LePage plus commercial Royal LePage. And every Investor's Edge agent has one on normal Royal LePage and investors. So there's a lot of different kinds of leads that you can get, but really, if you can get all, is going to depend on where you are. Now I see a great question. Yeah, Ontario. Okay, cool, Anne Marie. Definitely follow up with your manager. Okay, ask your manager what the opportunity is in your area. Leslie has a question about being in a bilingual market. Should I activate both the French and English versions of the smart campaigns suggested? Oui, absolument, because the system will apply if your lead comes in from French Royal LePage. It knows that. There's like essentially there's an extra little tail on the end of the lead that adds details about it's from French Royal LePage, and then it gets the French campaign. Okay, so absolutely apply both. Then you be really, but if you don't speak French, even if you're in a bilingual market, I suggest that you don't activate the French ones and you only send out English. Because if you activate the French, people who are French and receive them, they're going to respond in French and they're going to expect you to have a French conversation. So I only suggest that you activate them if you can actually converse en français. Okay? Okay. Um, Okay, a few training recommendations before we get going. I strongly recommend that you have a look at the Smart Leads YouTube channel. You're going to find some Q&As that I've done with successful agents, as well as some strategic and technical sessions that I've hosted, kind of like how this one is. You can find them directly on YouTube. You can also find them from the Smart Leads page on the RLP network. And actually, one of my most recent sessions was with Candace Prince, who won Realtor of the Year out there in the East Coast. And I interviewed her just a couple months ago, and she talked all about how the campaigns are one of the keys to her success. Okay, so it's not just me making up stuff because I want you to do these things. These work. They work really well. They help people win awards. Okay. Um, and then lastly, if you're the kind of person that likes to hold books, whether it's an online book or a real book, there's two that I really recommend. Okay, The Conversion Code by Chris Smith is, in my opinion, the best book about working online leads. It's just so fabulous. And then the other one that I have up here, Exactly What to Say by Philip M. Jones, is really just more about how to effectively communicate. Whether it's with your leads or just talking to people in general. Okay. Um, so I want to thank you so much for coming out. Okay. It was really great having you here. I enjoyed having such a big audience. Like, wow, guys, I'm really impressed. So I'm going to send out a recording of this. I'll try to do it today, but I'm not making any promises because I have to jump in a meeting in like 5 minutes. Okay. If it doesn't come out today, I promise it'll be out tomorrow morning. And along with that, I'm going to send you a big list of resources too. Okay. So I want you to do really well. You're going to do great. You're going to use the system, right? To shift, sift. I'm mixing up my words. You're going to use the system to sift out all the garbage. You're going to use the system to increase your results. Okay, I'm just gonna do one final sweep of. I don't see anything in Q&A. I see lots of thank yous in the chat. Thank you guys. You know, you energize me. It just makes me really happy to do this. And yeah, super. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.